a good friend of mine, Rick McClung, committed suicide on the way to work. He pulled over and hung himself. And if you knew Ricky, you know, this was a model firefighter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy, he was like,
He was
I
a
mean, I
man's
admired
man.
him. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he handled himself well. He was an excellent captain.
Yeah, he was the most solid guy you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. And even
Solid.
people you say, like, when I called people and I say, hey, Rick, you know, killed himself, everyone had a moment of silence. Just a moment of like, it did not compute. Me and Rick realized is that we're not experts, but we have experts. Dr. Johnson, our lead therapist, is an expert. So the best thing we did is partner with experts in this field, Wounded Warriors, UCLA. They have great work. And I discovered it by meeting with them. And they're going to deliver a program. And it's not a one-time shot. It's not someone coming and saying, how do you feel? Are you better? So we're going to institute a program. And this program is going to allow these injured firemen to be there, they and their families, to be there and get this therapy, group therapy, one-on-one therapy, and support that they need, and appreciation.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Johnson. I'm a psychotherapist and marriage and family therapist in practice for nearly 50 years. I'm also the founder and director of the Men's Center of Los Angeles since 1988. MCLA is an organization that provides counseling services, workshops and retreats for men and those in men's lives who love and care for them. I've been an educator. I've taught at USC and other colleges and universities. And more recently, I've been honored to be invited by Captain Mike to be the Director of Therapeutic Services for Firefighters Down.
The bigger departments have good mechanisms for, say, physical injuries. I hurt my knee. They'll get you the help, get you rehabbed, etc. But there's nothing really for mental, post-traumatic stress. There's nothing really for that. A lot of smaller departments, I think most of the United States is volunteers, and there's nothing for those guys. They see the same stuff we see. There's zero help for them. So this is definitely long overdue. And a lot of people don't really, they think that the firemen are like, you know, bulletproof and just come in, save the day. But, you know, we got to deal with all the stuff we see and touch and smell and hear and everything, all those bad things, and it doesn't go away.
I met Captain Mike and his wife about 4 years ago. I was impressed with who they were as individuals and also the quality of their relationship and their commitment as they expressed it to me to make a positive difference in the world. As I got to know Mike, he began to reveal his vision of an organization that would be of help to firefighters, something that would provide sort of a safe haven for firefighters to be able to go and to receive healing and to rejuvenate and to recover from the wounds on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. I was very honored when Mike actually asked me if I would consider being the director of therapeutic services and to help with providing the resources for firefighters' recovery.
We're going to be talking to people about what firefighters go through and what they know about firefighters going through. You'd be surprised what a lot of people think. We go shopping, eat good food, work out, and go to occasional fire. But so we're going to see how many people really know that we're part of Sandy Hook. Every time you see a catastrophe, a wreck, a terrorist attack, anything that has to do with injured people, be it shot, burned, it's the fire department that goes there and has to pick up those pieces, and the effects on the guys and the girls that deal with that has to be in place, because our post-traumatic stress, suicide, divorce, drinking, all of those rates are up. How many firemen nationwide are injured critically?
I think it would probably be at least in the hundreds. 'Cause, I mean, you see it on the news every day.
That's
You
true.
hear about
Guys
some
getting hurt.
fireman. Yeah.
What would you say?
I would guess the same.
Yeah.
30,000.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
How many firemen get injured on the fire ground every year nationwide? What type of number would you think?
Oh, wow.
1,200.
1,200? That's a good number.
I would say between 500 and 1,200.
Yeah, right around there, maybe 1,500.
Well, the real number is 30,000.
Holy cow.
30,000, that's 2 a week. And that's actual injuries. That's falling off of roofs, ceiling collapse, burns, things like that. That doesn't take into account if you think of Sandy Hook or Columbine or Oakland Fire, all the men that have to, the men and women that have to go in and deal with those injuries. And the stress and the strain that it puts on them, those support our numbers of divorce and addiction, depression, and suicide. Those are the type of things. One reason we're here today is to make people aware that the fire department is going through that.
Over the years, as a clinician, I've been trained in trauma-based technology and on a myriad of different levels. And from time to time, I've had first responders in my practice. So I began to learn more and more about what it meant to be the first one to respond to an accident, possibly a murder, a building collapse, a suicide, and the toll that it took on these men. As I got to know Mike and understood through the stories that he told me about the experiences of the people that he knew in his life, of what they had suffered, it became much more indelibly sort of imprinted on me what firefighters were actually dealing with. I think when we're young, we think of, I remember when I was a kid and the firefighters on the big red truck that were going off to save a home or get a cat out of a tree or fight a forest fire. We always thought of them as certainly heroic and wonderful men, but little did we know at the time what in actuality they were having to face. Over the years, it's just gotten worse, and they have to respond to so many different kinds of horrific situations on a day-to-day basis.
I'm just wondering, as firemen in suicide,
Yeah.
do you think
I
that
haven't
would
really
happen?
thought about that so much. I mean, I know that there's a lot of suicide and alcoholism and divorce with police officers,
Mm-hmm.
but I never really thought about it so much with firefighters. But it makes sense because you're going through stressful, traumatic situations on a regular
Exactly.
basis.
And no one knows, and this is what we're bringing attention to. I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. And I started Firefighters down because a friend of mine pulled over and hung himself. So we have to let people know. We don't make a big thing about it. We just drift away, but our divorce rate is out. Our stress rate is out. Our post-traumatic, now they figure 30% has post-traumatic stress disorder. And our suicide rate is climbing every year. For suicide, what's your thoughts on that? Does it seem like that's something that happened?
100%. I've been someone that's dealt with depression and anxiety and things like that. So, I'm very receptive to those kinds of things, and they really hit home with me. And I think a lot of people are afraid of psychological services like it's some sort of taboo, and it's not. It's not. It's people go through things every single day,
Right.
and you need to encourage them in positive ways to get the help that they need. And not many people do that. People feel afraid and ashamed of coming to friends or anybody that they want to talk to about these problems, and it's really a shame.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The Columbines, the Sandy Hooks. I mean, first responders saw it all. They don't forget that stuff. It doesn't, just because the incident's gone doesn't mean it's gone away in their memory. So, and they have to deal with it. And there's really nothing really out there for first responders.
Yeah. It's our responsibility.
The physical wounds in some ways are, if we can say, more easily treatable because they're visible to us. It's the emotional and mental wounds that are much more obscure and are challenging and difficult to treat. Acute trauma lasts anywhere from up to 3 months. Post-traumatic stress disorder can last for months and often for years. And so one of the things that we are aware of is that veterans, for instance, that come back take their lives at a tremendous rate. Upwards of 25 veterans take their lives a day. The suicide rate of firefighters is increasing.
Have you heard of any type of system, any program out there to help them like
No.
you do the military?
No, I think most people just assume that, you know, they get their pensions, so of course they're going to have some sort of protection against or insurance against that, but it's very likely that they don't.
They do not, yeah.
No.
Firefighters Down organization is very important. Having a retreat, a 4-day retreat in Malibu where firefighters can come and can receive a variety of different services, I think can make a tremendous difference in their lives and the life of the relationship with their spouse and their family and also their community. It gives them the opportunity to come in and to get restorative help and to recover so that then they can get back to work hopefully sooner than later.
The physical part is one thing. It's really the mental part.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
run after day after sleep deprivation. So part of Firefighters Down goal is to take these 30,000 men and women, fly them in, and give them the therapies that are needed. And like Johnny Appleseed, to fly them back to their states and their departments, and now they can break that taboo of it. It's 100% normal for someone to see a traumatic, tragic event to now to have to get help to deal with that. What we're trying to do is bring in therapy. So you not
I mean, I
not
think there
talk
should
to
be
another.
mandated therapy.
It should be. Now I'm saying because me and you talking to each other, I believe it's not enough. We need to talk to someone who's a professional, who knows how to release you
Well,
from
I think people
the
aren't
fact.
gonna go to therapy if you force them. But that's the thing. I think if it's offered, you know, and it's mandatory, they're not gonna want to open up because they're not gonna feel comfortable to open up. But I think if the services are offered, regardless of insurance or not, and it's there, I think people would be more inclined to take it.
Vast array of opportunities for men to experience what it means to be a man, what it means to be a mindful man, what it means to be an honorable man. Firefighters Down wants to provide a retreat that will specifically be tailored for firefighters, that will provide the variety of experiences that we have given to men over the years, but will allow the firefighters to feel that they are amongst their own ilk, in their own company, so to speak, so that they will feel a sense of safety and comfort in that camaraderie, in that fellowship, to be able to talk about things that they know that the other men that are with them know very intimately and have experienced as intimately as they have.
It's important for us to relay what we're doing. It's important for us, you know, the fire department, we're going to get up and go down. We're going to go on runs, do what we're going to do, no matter what. It's important that we make this connection to the community so that they, you know, they can't help with a problem if they don't know it exists. So it's very important that they realize that we're first on scene for catastrophes, murders, the Columbines, the natural disasters, the Katrinas, all these, the tsunamis. A friend went to Haiti and received bad burns there. So it's very important that we relay that to the community, the public we serve, so they can say, like they do, thank you for your service. Now, where can I support you guys to be better, to be a better department, to provide better service, to, you know, to lower suicide. We don't want firemen committing suicide. We want firemen to be strong, to help.
Yeah, and go back out another day.
These would be veterans, we would say, just like veterans in the Army. Firefighters are veterans of fire combat. And it's good for them, I think, to socialize and talk talk about these things.
You know, then me and Rick were talking, and we just started out wanting to do something for him, and then the more you learn about what's going on, it just this firefighter down, it grew. It grew to more knowledge on post-traumatic stress disorder, accumulation of runs, what happens after you're injured and you lose all your strength, you lose all your this thing that you built so much of your personality around,
Right.
and you feel very confident, very proud of what you do. What happens when that goes away?
And how it affects your family too. All the people around them, not just that individual. Affects it. Everybody down the line. Affects that person that got injured or whatnot, his family, the co-workers. I mean, it affects a lot of people.
The symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder are sleeplessness, irritability. Often, people have a difficult time relating to others. They want to isolate. It's not uncommon for someone that's been on the front lines all day long to come home and flip on the television and sit on the couch and tune out communications. One of the things that we find in relationships is wives say that they've lost their spouses to their jobs, and that they're not available to them when they get home because they have to shut off what it is that they've seen. We're seeing more domestic violence. We're seeing more divorce. The alcohol and chemical dependency rate has increased. The suicide rate has increased also. In fact, the research indicates that anywhere from 3 to 4 times more suicides take place in departments nationally than actual loss of life in line of duty. And in fact, in 2016, over 100 firefighters took their lives, and it's reported that in actuality only 40% of reported suicides do we ever really hear about of firefighters. So we know that it's probably a lot more than we ever hear about.
I have a lot of respect for firefighters. I have a friend who's a firefighter, and I think that everyone who chooses this field is someone who has a lot of respect for other human beings and for life, and that's something that is really honorable.
Anything you can do to help them, it's really going to help you in your own community as well, because we need them every day.
I really hope that these firefighters can get the help that they need.
And what you guys do, I believe in it, and there's nothing that is more valuable to our society than the bravery of our most honest men that do those things. And and I think a lot of the times that they're overlooked and they don't get the credit that they deserve.
The goal is, of course, it's an organization called Firefighters Down, and we're here to try and to handle that, to make sure that when someone gets injured, that they get the care.
That's wonderful.
Is that good?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, we need to do that.
My hope is that those of you that are watching this documentary have gotten a sense of how important it is to support the firefighters, the men and women that put their lives on the front lines in so many different ways to help all of us in our community. It is vitally important that each and every one of us do whatever we can to support financially Firefighters Down. Every little bit helps. $5, $10, $15, or more, and hopefully more, from those that are in a position to provide more, can make such a substantial difference in funding this program. So each of you, if you haven't thought about it before, what these people do, these men and women, each day of their lives to help us to feel safe and to save us, to arrive and to be there for us when we're injured, that show up at the accidents and put your home that may have caught fire out, and in any other way have been there to help you. If you haven't thought of that before, think about it now, because they all need your help. Everything that we can do to be of service to them now is really appreciated.
There's the fire burning, you're gonna grab your hose, and you're gonna go up the stairs.
That's what we do.
Without saying like, oh, am I gonna die, or is it gonna be,
Right.
you know, it's
Yeah.
just dangerous. You just,
Yeah, that's just what we do. I mean, as they're running out, we're running in. I mean, someone has to take care of the problem. That's what we do.